Stephanie White reaction with a silhouette video too. But here is the news that was broken. Let's pull up the actual article here. It says Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark wins another Player of the Week for Week 10 of the 2026 WNBA season. It was announced today. Caitlin Clark is a cumulative 77 points this past week, the third most scored by any player in the WNBA over a span.
Caitlin Clark keeps racking up honors, picking up another weekly award right after putting together a historic triple-double. The squad had reeled off 5 straight wins before dropping one to the Minnesota Lynx. Still, right on schedule, Clark has been torching defenses ever since the All-Star break. Stephanie White's reaction to all this is worth watching, especially since Kelsey Mitchell has also been balling out, yet the league handed the weekly honor to Clark once again.
Scored by any player in the WNBA over a span of only behind her teammate Kelsey Mitchell, who had 91, and Asia Wilson with 97. Averaging 25 points per game, Caitlin Clark had the 5th highest points per game average within the league. Meanwhile, Clark's 27 total assists and 9 assists per game both led the league throughout the week last week. So not only is Caitlin Clark scoring points, it's the assist that is killing other teams as well. On July 28th against the Seattle Storm, Caitlin...
Turning to the Indiana Fever's official account, the update centers on Clark being named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. This marks another weekly award for the Fever guard during Week 10 of the 2026 WNBA season, announced this week. Clark put up a combined total of point totals that ranked 3rd highest league-wide over that stretch, trailing only teammate Kelsey Mitchell's 91 and Aja Wilson's 97. Her scoring average of 25 points a night placed her 5th in the league. On top of that, her 27 assists and 9 helpers per outing both topped the entire WNBA for the week. So beyond the buckets, her passing has been dismantling opposing defenses too.
On July 28th against the Seattle Storm, Caitlin Clark led the team to victory with the team high 32 points, 7 assists. The game marked the 9th 30-plus point scoring game of Caitlin Clark's career, one away from tying Tamika Catching with 10 for the second most in franchise history. Then followed that up on July 31st against Portland. Caitlin Clark earned her 4th career triple-double, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, giving her the 3rd most triple.
On July 28th versus the Seattle Storm, Clark paced her team to a win with a game-best 32 points and 7 assists, marking her 9th career outing scoring 30-plus points, just one shy of tying Tamika Catchings for second most in franchise history. Days later, on July 31st against Portland, she notched her 4th career triple-double, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, pushing her into 3rd place on the 1BA's all-time triple-double list. Then, facing the Lynx, she logged her 27th career double-double with 19 points and 10 assists, her 25th points assists double-double, sitting just 3 behind Sue Bird for 3rd most in league history. Clark appears on track to pass that mark soon.
Most triple-doubles in WNBA history, baby. Finally, against the Minnesota Lynx, Caitlin Clark recorded her 27th career double-double with 19 points and 10 assists, marking the 25th point/assist double-double of her career, just 3 shy of Sue Bird's record of the 3rd most in WNBA history. And I'm pretty sure Caitlin Clark is going to pass up Sue Bird. With that, now we do know
a clip circulating from the Fever shows Stephanie White's reaction during the announcement, followed by a highlight reel of Clark's week. In the footage, assistant coach Briann January is seen clapping along, though her expression has drawn attention online, with some viewers reading her body language as unenthusiastic.
Is going to pass up Sue Bird. With that, now we do know there was a video that was released by the Indiana Fever with Stephanie White reaction, and we have to check it out here. Then we're going to check out the highlight video from Caitlin Clark. So she's forced to clap for Caitlin again, and Briann January already looking suspect. Let's listen to this.
Thing, we got an Eastern Conference Player of the Week.
Comment sections lit up over the clip. Some fans defended Clark, saying she deserves the recognition. Others pushed a theory that the coaching staff is intentionally funneling touches toward Kelsey Mitchell in hopes of boosting her toward an MVP push, pointing to how often she's getting the ball and the points that come with it.
We got an Eastern Conference Player of the Week.
Briann January look kind of mad. Is it me or does she look mad? She look kind of mad. Maybe I'm tripping. Let me read some of the comments and see if I'm the only one tripping off this. Our girl Gracie, we love you, CC. Y'all know we gotta love Kayla Clark. Does she go? Look.
Other commenters pushed back, calling the suspicion overblown and saying people should simply be glad to see Clark celebrated. Fans also noted she was recently ranked the 11th best point guard in the league by outside rankings, a placement some viewers found laughably low given her weekly stat line: 25 points, 53% shooting, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds a game. Someone joked that the league should erase a technical foul from her record every time she wins Player of the Week. Her sneaker colorway also got praise in the replies.
Does she go? Look, I just said that. Wait for it. The face of a conflicted CC deserved better. Wow, I knew I wasn't tripping, bro. I knew she looked suspect as hell in this, bro. She looked like she didn't even want to clap, bro. Look at the other lady in the back. What is the fan saying? You're the reason why Clark deserved less. Their plan is to not.
Separately, a story involving Angel Reese has been developing, and reports suggest the situation is worse than first understood. In a promotional clip, Reese talked about a full circle moment tied to a Barbie collaboration featuring her likeness, describing handing dolls to young fans at All-Star Weekend events with a Boys and Girls Club. But an older interview clip resurfaced where Reese said she barely had dolls growing up because none resembled her. A statement some viewers say contradicts her newer comments about loving Barbie dolls as a kid. Commenters have accused her of contradicting herself, with several calling the mismatch dishonest and questioning the inconsistency in her story.
To not working. CC's getting MVP. Congrats. I think the plan is for the Indiana Fever is that they want Kelsey Mitchell to be the MVP. They're feeding her the ball. They're feeding her points. It's clear to me they want Kelsey Mitchell to be the MVP. Let me know if I'm tripping, because I don't think I'm tripping.
Fans keep asking the same thing online. Why isn't Raven Johnson getting more time on the floor for the Indiana Fever? One person commented that they only follow the 1BA because of Raven and Olivia Miles, an odd pairing of players to root for, and asked who she's actually a fan of. Raven answered with a shrug emoji. Replying at all probably wasn't the right call.
The Indiana Fever, there are multiple reasons why Raven Johnson isn't playing. 1, Ty Harris is playing better than her. 2, she's a player who kind of relies a lot on her confidence, and her confidence appears to be shot. From watching her play, her confidence looks like it's shot. 3, she hasn't figured out what she does yet in the WNBA. She hasn't figured out what she does yet. And that's not a knock on Raven Johnson. She is a role player. She is coming in as a role player.
Anyone who has actually watched the Fever this season can point to a few clear reasons Raven isn't seeing the floor much. First, Ari Harris has simply been sharper in games right now. Second, Raven leans heavily on confidence to play well, and right now that confidence looks rattled. It shows in how she moves and reacts on the court. Third, she still hasn't nailed down a clear identity at this level of the sport.
In as a role player. And when you are a role player, what you did at high school, what you did in college is never what translates exactly. Like, you've got to figure out what you do at the WNBA level. Like, being this physical defender, she's not very good at it right now. She can't run an offense in the WNBA because teams pressure her. Teams pressure her instead of when she was in college. Because we've seen it when she's played against a zone, she does a good job of running the show. But in college, you weren't getting a top-tier defender on you.
None of that is meant as an insult. She's coming in as a role player, and what carried her through high school and college doesn't just transfer automatically. Whatever she does well has to be rebuilt for the pro game. Her physical style of defense hasn't held up so far. Running offense has been tougher too, since pro defenses apply real pressure on ball handlers, something she rarely dealt with in college, where opponents either sagged off her or didn't guard her at all.
You weren't getting a top-tier defender on you, and they either pressure her or they just don't guard her. They don't guard her. It is a thing where I think Raven's going to have a long WNBA career. I don't know if it's in Indiana, but, like, what does she do well? I think that's a valid question to ask. What does Raven Johnson do well at the WNBA level? I really, really don't know. I really don't know.
So the real question becomes, what does Raven Johnson actually do well at this level? Honestly, that's still unclear, and it's a fair question to raise. She hasn't been given enough consistent chances yet to answer it herself, and she likely doesn't fully know the answer either at this point.
I really, really don't know. I really don't know. And she has time to figure it out, and I don't think she knows because she hasn't gotten enough chances. But, like, one second. But when it comes to Raven, there's no point saying about this.
Setting all that aside, there's no getting around the fact that both ends of her game, defense and offense, have looked shaky lately, and Ari Harris is simply outplaying her right now. She could use a bit more self-awareness out there. At times she looks like she's lost on the floor, stepping out of bounds in a recent game being one example. That's not to say she's incapable. Earlier this season, when she was getting real minutes, she looked genuinely good. The issue is, she hasn't shown she can handle a role that shifts constantly. Play a lot one night, barely play the next, stay sharp regardless. Almost no young player naturally has that mindset built in, especially one who opened the year strong, like the 17-point performance against Golden State during the preseason that had her playing with real confidence.
There's no point saying about this. Her defense went bad, her offense even worse. Ty Harris is better than her currently. Yeah. She needs some self-awareness. She looks like a lost kid every time stepping forward. Man, she walked in bounds the last game. Like, she just doesn't... She isn't... Not that she isn't ready, because we saw when she was getting a lot of minutes early in the season, she looked good. Like, she's not ready to be a... You might play this game, you won't play next game type player. She's not ready to be a... Okay, you mightn't play for...
That's part of what makes this such a tough spot for a young player. Her role keeps changing game to game. She hasn't locked down one defined skill at the pro level, and there's a veteran ahead of her who simply reads the game better right now. That's not entirely on Raven. It's a challenge most young players go through at some point, and it shouldn't be read as a knock on her specifically. She remains a young talent with genuine upside. A solid amount of it, honestly, even if it's uncertain whether that upside gets realized in Indiana. It wouldn't be surprising if the Fever were at least open to moving her, even without actively shopping her around, and she might not even make it to a second season with the team. Still, this looks like someone with a decade-long WNBA career ahead of her, no doubt about that. Eventually she'll figure out the one thing she does well, and once that clicks, the smaller details of her game should be enough to keep her on the floor too.
You won't play next game type player. She's not ready to be a, okay, you mightn't play for a game and a half, get ready, stay ready so you never have to get ready type player. And no young player is. No young players have that vet mindset. That they all come in, especially with Raven, how she played in preseason. When Raven had that 17-point game, I think, was it against Golden State, when she had a 17-point game, like, your confidence is through the roof. She was playing okay when, she was playing okay when Caitlin was injured. She was playing okay.
That said, firing back at people online about playing time with shrug emojis just isn't the move. It can't happen. Doing that pulls the whole conversation away from basketball and turns it into something else entirely. It hijacks the story every time.
She was playing okay. So I get it. It's one of those things as a young player that's really difficult. It is really difficult when your role changes game by game, when you have not established what one skill you do at the pro level is, and you have a vet who just gets the game better than you right now. That's not really Raven's fault. I would say some of it's Raven's fault, but like...
Overall, things simply haven't broken her way yet. The roster didn't especially need another point guard, and she isn't really a pure point guard to begin with. Her minutes alongside Clark have generally looked strong, genuinely strong, in most stretches. It's a tough spot because Ari Harris has outplayed her, absorbed more of the rotation, and once Raven's minutes started shrinking, her play dipped further along with it. That's a pattern young players go through often enough. And again, clapping back at people on social media about not playing isn't the answer. That's the same misstep seen with Alyssa Smith back in 2024, when things like public likes on posts criticizing coaching decisions and playing time became a whole distraction of their own.
Really Raven's fault. I would say some of it's Raven's fault, but like, it's no more than any young player. Like, it's not like a knock on Raven. Like, Raven Johnson is a young player with potential. She's absolutely a young player with a decent amount of potential. And I don't know if she reaches that in Indiana. I would not be surprised the Indiana Fever are not maybe actively shopping her, but are at least shopping her. And she might not make it to year 2 for the Fever, but she's going to be...
Someone also brought up that Raven played reasonably well during the period when Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark were still figuring out how to share the court. There was a stretch early on where those two didn't quite mesh. But looking at net rating now, and it's fair to question how much that stat should really matter, Raven currently sits at the very bottom of the entire league by that measure, dead last among every player in the NBA. For context, on a team performing above 500, you'd typically expect its players to rank near the top of that category, yet she's at the absolute bottom league-wide. On top of that, she seems to struggle in short bursts of playing time, whereas Ari Harris can check in for 2 or 3 minutes and deliver the same level of effort and execution right away. Raven looks like a player who needs extended stretches on the floor to find any rhythm during a game, and right now she hasn't earned that kind of workload. Even so, there's real belief she'll eventually carve out a lasting spot in this league. Genuinely so. Whether that happens in Indiana is another matter entirely, and that part remains genuinely uncertain. Either way, a long career still looks likely from here. Whether she's back with the Fever next season is something nobody can say for sure right now. Really, truly uncertain.